Hey guys, how you doing? So today I've got something completely different for you. As you can see, we're all set up here, and we've got amps and DIs and Mac. We've got two Macs, and we've also got Warren Huart here. So what we're going to be doing today, and I'll tell you about Warren in a minute. But what we're doing, in fact, it was Warren's idea. I'm not going to take any. I'm not going to take the. I'm not going to take the gold dust from you, Warren. Warren's like, we should do this video to show your guys, the YouTube cats, how a remote session works. So, and this is what we're here today to do, just to show you how, when there's so much of this going on now. And we were talking about it earlier, Warren, how you can have a great studio in your house. And because of that, there's so many remote sessions going on that it's a really, really great skill to actually understand the workflow behind it and all those shenanigans. And hopefully, we're going to show you exactly how it works today. As you can see, we've got, it's just a bird's nest of wires, so hopefully nothing blows up. Now, if you haven't heard of Warren Huart before, he has got, just a CV longer than my legs. And by the way, I have got shorts on. I've got shorts on, Warren. Sorry about this.
I'm in Los Angeles and I'm wearing jeans.
I know Warren's in LA wearing jeans, and I'm in the UK wearing shorts.
You're in Leeds of all places.
I'm just hoping the sun comes. But Warren has got a CV longer than my arm. He's worked with guys like Aerosmith, The Fray, and you're a multi-platinum award-winning producer, songwriter.
Oh yeah, I like that. Multi-platinum award-winning producer and engineer. Yes, that I suppose technically. That is true, yes.
That is true. And the way we met through a mutual friend, but Warren has also got a killing YouTube channel as well called Produce Like a Pro. So if you're into recording, you have to go and check Warren's channel out. I'll put a link below this video. Go over, check it out, subscribe. And Warren, how many videos are you doing a week at the minute? It's frightening, isn't it? Something.
Three. Yeah, we do 3 a week. Yeah, we've kept up 3 a week for about, how long now? Maybe the last 6 months.
You're making me feel guilty.
No, it's like, we're a little late to the party compared with some, so we want to get some really good content out there. And to be quite frank, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun to do it. And, I open up sessions of things I've recorded with different musicians or stuff I've played on or whatever. And I just get to open it up and talk about how I recorded it and what the gear we use and how we're mixing it. And, it's opening up a lot of conversation, because I'm sure the same thing happens for you. What you do is you create something and then people talk about it and you learn stuff. I learn stuff from people all the time. They're like, oh, that's cool, but you could have done it like this. I'm like, you can? Okay, great, thanks. It's like a community. We sort of learn from each other. It's pretty remarkable.
It's just really great content, guys. So do check out Warren's channel. I've been on there, unashamedly. I've been on there every day for the last 3 or 4 days. I was checking out some crazy mixing video yesterday you were doing. I was actually talking to Denmark about it. DMAC, actually. I'm calling you Denmark because Warren's here, but it's DMAC. It's his nickname. We'll revert to DMAC. So we were talking about it today. I was just talking about taking vocals and how you automate the volume going up and down and.
Oh right, the vocal one, yeah.
Yeah, how long does it take to mix a track? On average, just throw something else.
I think if I was tearing down from scratch and starting from scratch, it's a day's work. But but let's be honest, I've been doing this a long time, and I have a lot of, it's very important, and I haven't talked about it enough, so thanks for making me think about it. But to have templates to make things a little quicker.
Yeah.
Because there's a sort of drudgery of like, okay, I have to bus all of this to here, I have to send that to here. So if you have a template, you can pretty much have your vocal come up. For me, I use a lot of different effects, but I may not use them very loud.
Okay.
So I might so it's good to have a template and have your 2 or 3 different reverbs, your 2 or 3 delays. I always print like vocal thickening tricks, which I stole from Andy Fernbach, who was like Dave Gilmour's engineer. He showed me how to like fatten up vocals using an H3000, and he does. It sounds like Pink Floyd. It's just got this warm thing. So I do that on every song, and sometimes I use it a lot, and sometimes I barely use it, and sometimes I don't use it at all. But if I prep my sessions the same way every time, it makes it so I can make it all about the creativity and have fun with the track, as opposed to like sitting there and doing all the drudgery.
You've got like a template you kind of open, and then you can use what you want when you want.
It'd be like, now you've got this recording set up, you might just leave it up, you know, so the next time you want to record bass, you just kind of walk in, plug in and start recording.
Honestly, I don't think I'm ever going to move anything again. I'm not even joking. We messed around with this for like the last 2 hours. We were like, what is going on? There's so many leads and wires and stuff. And yeah.
For the Americans, that's cables.
Yeah. Cable. Oh, yeah, cables, isn't it? Leads.
Cables,
yeah.
yes.
So, guys, I'm going to let Warren tell us about the track he sent over in a minute. But if you missed the first video, I've actually done a video about, Warren sent me through the track and I showed you how I arranged it in the DAW and how and why I put a tempo in there. So, you know, and you'll see that in action today. But if you haven't checked out that first video, make sure you check it out after this video so it'll make a little bit more sense. But Warren, tell us about this track. What's going on? Who is this? You know, what is it?
Well, it's a new artist. She just turned 18. She's super young. She's from Seattle. Her name is Amanda Hardy. She's a lot of fun to work with because she's from Seattle, so she's like steeped in like grunge rock. I mean, for real. Like her favorite band is Alice in Chains. Hands down, her favorite band.
I'm a massive Alice in Chains fan, actually.
Oh yeah, me too. Well, my friend Dave Jordan, who we should definitely do some work with, recorded like the big Alice in Chains records.
Really?
Yeah, he did Dirt and Facelift. You know, Dirt's one of my favorite.
Dirt's
records.
amazing. Yeah.
Rooster and
Jerry Cantrell, just what a guitar player, man. What, you know. Insane.
Yeah, and I love that early stuff though because I love Lane Staley's voice as much as the new guy's great. It's Lane's voice is incredible, but so she's steeped in that. So it's good. So we get to do kind of some rock stuff, and at the same time we get to be weird and we get to be clever. I mean, I've got some songs with her where it's like Wolf Alice, that new band, or Royal Blood, where it's literally just a lead bass playing distorted riffs and hardly any guitars. I get to have some kind of. But the aesthetic is a little grunge. It's just like in her blood. But on this track, you know, I was talking to you about this earlier. We had a track the other day I did with Mark Lothman, and we had Billy Sheehan come in. And the reason why I wanted Billy to play on the track is I wanted Billy Sheehan over the top kind of crazy bass lines. So for this song, we got Matt Starr, who's Mr. Big's current drummer, and he also plays with Ace Frehley and a whole bunch of other people. Like
looking at the track, you've got sort of like three main sections, haven't you, that have the bass. It's on the chorus 1, chorus 2, and then there's sort of like a double chorusy thing, and then there's a bridge, a little bit of an intro, and then a double chorus at the end. Is that what you're wanting for this track?
Yeah, exactly. I want it to grow exponentially, like the production. As you can tell, there's only a scratch vocal on it at the moment. You know? I write all the songs with her, so we're still kind of in the writing process. We've got the melodies, but we haven't even finished the lyrics yet. She's probably going to cringe when she sees this video and her scratch vocals playing with no tuning and nothing on it, like ah. But it is what it is. You know, this is good because this gets to show everybody this is the real world. This is what we do.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I spent a lot of my life on Skype because a lot of artists I work with, I write with them via Skype like this.
Oh, really?
A lot. And then they fly in. I had a girl, Brittany Cassidy, and she was in Philadelphia, and we wrote her EP before she even arrived here.
Wow.
All on Skype. I'm writing with another artist on Skype at the moment. It's very common these days. This is the new world.
It's amazing, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, and even with the time delay and stuff, we could still write a song. You could have an acoustic, and I could be like, and then you hear it, you sing it back to me. There's maybe a tiny bit of time delay, but it doesn't matter. We're not, you know, it doesn't really stop us being creative. It's like, God, if you thought about when we were kids, if we thought that this technology was available, could you imagine?
My mind would have been blown. My mind would have been absolutely blown.
What was the big, what was the Paul McCartney, was it Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder or Paul McCartney on Michael Jackson that they did by sending on the phone and sending tracks backwards and forwards to each other?
Oh.
It was one of those two. And remember, it was such a big deal. Yeah. Everybody was like, wow, they weren't even in the same studio. Oh my God. They sent the tracks backwards and forwards. It was like such a big deal. And now it's like, yeah, we're making a record via Skype.
I know. Well, there's actually software. I can't remember the name of it. There's software now where you can actually do it you can record in real time. So if
I did that with
If we've
I
both
did that
got the
with
same
James Blunt.
software, have you heard of it?
No, I did. I actually did something like that with James Blunt. I was I produced a single for him. I'll Be Your Man, like 2-3 years ago. It was a hit in Europe,
Yeah.
and I cut the track in LA because we stripped the song on the album the last minute, like literally like old school. You got to get this done in the next 2 days to make the deadline. So we took the song, we tracked it all in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I went into Capitol Records, and I think he was in Abbey Road, so it was all very glamorous. Woohoo! You know, so he goes into Abbey Road, and I spoke with the engineer before, told him what mic and what preamp to use and what vocal chain, basically the vocal chain, and we did the whole thing via ISDN. We did record the audio there, and then they sent it to us, but the delay was so tiny. It was pretty insane. It was just weird because after doing vocals for like 45 minutes, you forgot that he just wasn't in the vocal booth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I was leaning into a console and hitting talk back like I normally would. And you don't usually see the singer. Sometimes you do, but most of the time, often they're in a vocal booth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're just I'm going, yeah, could you go in and, he's got a lot of vibrato in his voice. I was like, can you redo that line with just a little less vibrato? And we're fixing all the vocals up. And at the end of it, it's like, oh, it was a great session. And then we're like, wait there, he's not going to come out and we're not going to have a hug and say goodbye. It's done. And it was like, oh, okay.
Amazing. Amazing.
But yeah, that was ISDN. So yeah, no, it's pretty crazy.
Okay, so I wanted to give you just a quick rundown of the gear that we're using just before we go any further. I've done a more detailed video of this, so if you want to check that out, hit the link below. It's in the description box, and it gives you a detailed description of how I've linked all this up and the options. But anyway, so I'm going straight into here. Obviously, I'm using the P-Bass. I'm going into a BAE DMP here, which is an amazing DI, but it's also a mic preamp as well. Class A, super high class, and check BAE out there. It's a great company, and just huge thanks to Mark Luffman as well, who is the head of BAE, but he's also a northerner. He's from Manchester actually, so heads up to you, Mark. So into the BAE, then through. I'm taking the through out into the Aurora, which is by Mark van der Clay. Another Mark. Is there a Mark Focusrite? No. So into the Van der Clay, again, super nice head. And then I've got the Focusrite. What is it, D-Mark? Scarlett, the Focusrite Scarlett. And then just taking that straight into Logic. But again, if you want to know more about this gear, I've done a video for you which gives you a detailed look into how I've wired all this up and and the full shenanigans. So check that out after this video in the description box below. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit record.
Great.
And I'm just going to play this track. And I've never really played all of it before. I'm just doing it so, we can let the guys have a listen and
Great.
I can have a bit of a twiddle and I can have a twiddle over it.
Twiddle away.
Okay guys, so this is just the intro, and it's going from like a D to that's an E with a C on top. And here, this is the kind of pre-chorus. Just check this out, Warren. And then it's bang on straight into the chorus. A minor to F major. Bars, and then you hit the first again, which is the D minor to the E minor. It's like an E then a chorus again. Beforehand, I know what's going on. I'm not sure what you want on this one, you'll just have to tell me.
Nice. Yeah.
And then it goes back to the intro. I'm just gonna let you guys listen on, so we get the full track here. Get a good feel for what's going on. Chorus, A minor. So if you want to write this down, and you want to listen, you can see what I'm doing. Intro, and then I'm going to tell you chord there. A minor, F major, D major, E7. And that's it, that's the vibe.
See, this section could be tough. This could
Do
be tough.
you want anything on this bit?
Yeah, no, I think on the second verse you could be tough because even though I'm doing this kind of airy, fairy phaser guitar part,
Yeah.
he's like dum da da da. I mean, this could be like ba da da dum da 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 da.
Let's just, let's just have a look at that.
Like a tough thing. I might even add like a kind of da da da.
I think I'll just take it from the. Wait, let's blah 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 blah. Yeah, I'll just take it from there. This bit here, yeah, the verse.
Yeah.
And what you thinking, more staccato type of thing,
Yeah,
or
like
kind of like held?
Just I'm not that exact thing, but like just be tough against it. Play with the drums and let the guitar and let the vocals float over the top and the phaser guitar. But you can be like, no.
What I'll probably do one is give you two versions of it,
Right.
sort of like held and then more staccato, so you've got something, to use.
Yeah, I like both. It's just you could do both. Gunk. Bump, and just put like a couple of or maybe even do a 10th higher, something fun. Exactly.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll just take it from somewhere in the chorus, and then what I'll do is I'll do the staccato version first, and then we'll go into the version where I hold it on. So let's just do a staccato version first, then we'll see what happens. Let's do it. Coming up to the bridgy part. Here we go. I kind of think these power chords and the free chords will really work. Okay, so now I'm just going to do. I'll do a version where I just hold it on. Let's see what that sounds like. Here we go, same place. So on the chorus, I just had this, like, I was listening to it there, and I just thought it might be nice with like a motif that kind of that repeats, kind of. It's sort of like a. Obviously, not that exact thing, but maybe. I think on the original, you played something like. Like that kind of thing. So it could be,
I probably just blocked the chord. I probably like the minor, the 5 and stuff. Yeah, but yeah, I'm down with stepping outside of it. Yeah, like I said, this one I'd like to. I have no problem with bells and whistles on this one. It might be nice on the 5 chord to just riff for a second. So you got that. You know, whatever. Just do something on that 5 and just kind of like have some fun with it.
Yeah.
And obviously the last chorus you can go nuts on. You can kind of
yeah. I'll probably do like a few different versions of it and then just sort of like give you it all. And then you can decide what to do with
That's fine. It's something I think is important for your students to know. And you have a good ear, and that, I think, because we were talking about Sean Hurley earlier.
Yeah.
I use a lot of sessions out here. When Sean comes in and plays bass for me, it's usually because it's a live session and I need a bass player to play with a drummer. That's the number one reason why I hire him, because he has such a great feel and he locks with the drummer.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, 99% of the bass lines that Sean plays for me are this. That would be a very complicated. That would be one of his more complicated bass lines. But why do I hire him? A, because he has really good groove and feel, and he locks with the drummer. Like, he does a lot of stuff with Victor and Drizzo. They work really well together. But the other thing is like, he doesn't take. He literally, the guys will come in the control room. I'll play the song down. They'll either, some guys just listen to it and go and play. Other guys chart it. But I'll be amazed if they hear it maximum 2 times. Most of the time, they hear the song and go, oh, cool, and then go and start playing. I feel like for a musician, like, you have a really good ear, you pick up everything as it's going. We don't have to, you're not going, is that an A minor with the, you know, it's just like, you just hear it. It's interesting because I think one of the main things that I think for kids, if they want to become session players or whatever, is like develop an ear.
Yeah, oh man, yeah.
You know, because they spend ages, and I did as well, and to be honest, to my detriment, I spent ages going, it was great. I could out-shred every guitar player I knew, but what I couldn't do is I couldn't hear all the changes for years. And I realized that because I couldn't hang with some of these guys, and they weren't technically very good, but they were like making me look stupid. So I just started doing ear training exercises. I got like, now, I still do it now. I have apps on my cell phone, and I just plug it in at night and hear like, you know, and listen to the, it's crazy.
Yeah, but I think sort of like understanding sort of like diatonic harmony helps as well. You know, like we were talking about earlier about songwriting, 7 chords in a key. It's going to be one of those 7 chords. Maybe you get a couple of subdominants here and there, but generally it will be one of those 7 chords. I think, because that really helps me because I automatically assume, I'm like, okay, it's like a poppy type thing. It's probably going to be all within one key. That means I've got it's not that much to play with. We've got these 7 chords. It's going to be different combinations of those 7 chords. And I think, whether you do that from an academic point of view and learn it like that, or some guys, I'm sure you work with a ton of guys that have just developed that naturally anyway, just from years of playing.
Well, Billy Shan is not a technical. He's a technical player, but if you watch that video I did with him, is at one point I say something to him and he's like, he doesn't know. He goes, I don't know numbers. I don't know that. I don't think that way. But you assume that all these great players are just like you and I are talking about. Go to the 5. Do a riff on the 5. I know you know what I'm talking about. But if I said that to him, he wouldn't know what I meant.
Yeah, like one of my favorite keys players over here, a guy called Mark Walker, who's like a monster player. Super busy, and we were playing. I was like, oh, it's a C major sharp 11 thing, and he was like, what the heck is that? I was like, like a C major sharp, and he was like, that sound. I was like, yeah, and he was like, oh right, okay, and he knew it. He knew it by the sound. He could hear it.
That's all that matters.
If you're going to be one or the other, obviously you want to hear it.
You want to be the guy that hears it, yeah.
Yeah, but there's these guys out there that do. They just sort of like they've come at it a different angle and they've ended up developing these crazy ear skills. And they can just hear that stuff. And Mark's one of them. I assume Billy is as well. Just great ears. What I could do is I'm just going to try that. Is that a bit too disco? Is it all right?
Yeah, I'm on the fence with that. Unless it was... Could it be more screwed up? Unless it was actually nuttier. If it was nuttier. If it was like, instead of... If it was more bomb, if it was crazier, I think it would work. Believe it or not.
I could do something like that.
Yeah. But I mean, like, if you wanted to literally go, down. Yeah, I like that.
Or maybe something like.
That's cool. I might be able to do a guitar part. That's cool. No, I like that. I think that that A minor kind of nuttiness could make me. I could put like some crazy guitar part over it as well.
Yeah, well, I could just do sort of like. If you were doing the double stops, doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I did like that though. I like that too. I did like that. Yeah, it was nice.
Oh, there you go. Oh, there.
I like that.
That, yeah.
Yeah. You could riff on the end, so.
Yeah. How many bars is it? Oh, okay, it's double the. So,
yeah, I like that. I like that. I like all that stuff. I don't know how you do that, so I like it. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, that's awesome.
Now I just have to remember it. So what I'll do, Warren, is I'll just take it from 2 bars before in the chorus before. We'll do the 2 bars, which I'll do the little fill on, and then into the bridge section. Let's see how that works. Here we go.
There was a great phrase here, and I actually, I was a staff producer on X Factor for a couple of years, so I don't have I don't have a problem with the game show, the vocal shows. But there's a great quote with from Kid Rock, where Kid Rock was being interviewed, and they said to him, "Why don't you go on American Idol and do like the finale? Why don't you do those kind of things?" And he's like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "Well, there's 30 million people watch American Idol." And he's like, "Oh, right." He goes, "Last time I checked, there was 360 million people in America. I want to speak to the other 330 million that don't watch American Idol." It's just, it's a great line. It's just like, you know what? There's so many people in this world for us to worry about trying to please. I think that if you're true to what you do and you're a great musician and you play with feel and conviction, people are they're gonna gravitate towards it.
So what I'll do is I'll do 2 versions. So the first version's kind of in the first version's in unison. 1, 2, 3. And the second version.
Yeah.
So it's just like a third up. I think it both fits, so it sounds like this. Guys, what you'll have seen there as well is that I was using the notes up here instead of the notes up here for the unison lines. And the reason why I was using the D string for those unison lines is that you just get a bit of a fatter sound from it. So that is why I know some of you might be thinking, why is he not playing those unison lines down here? And it's because I'm wanting to get that big fat sound up here. But yeah, I'm really pleased with the sound of that.
Yeah, I like that.
Is that it? Have we done it all? Oh my word, we've done it all.
Did we do a first chorus?
Yeah.
Okay, we've done it all.
Done it all. And that is how it's done.
Like that. And now you're editing a video, so it's like 1 take of each, and it'll be like 4-minute long video. Yeah, that's just how you do it.
Yeah. a producer's sort of like standpoint, what do you look for? Do you know when you're hiring somebody, what's really important for you? Give me the 3 most important things, because like it's really interesting for people, because there'll be a lot of guys that are wanting to get into, you know, playing bass for a living. What are you looking for when you hire somebody?
Interesting. Well, I think the number one thing, if you're going to be a guy that just moves easily between one session and another, is the ear. Number one, a really good ear. You've got to be able to hear the changes, understand basic harmony and melody. You know, you don't need to know every number and read music and blah, blah, blah. I mean, those are useful skills if you're going to do orchestra pit work, or you're going to work on like a big band session or a huge string session. You know, if you're going to fit, but 99% of your work is going to be doing what we just did here. So you just have to have a good ear, because there's nothing more frustrating than the musician still working out the song, you know, in the middle of trying to track it. That should be, especially like a song like we just did, where, you know, the chorus is, you know, 6-4-1-5. It's like nearly, we were joking about nearly every other song written. So, you know, you probably heard it once or twice and were like, you knew the song. And that's what people need to be able to do more than anything else. Because like I said, when I was a guitar player, I'd go into sessions, and I've done sessions. I did a Mandy Moore track when I first moved here. I played on a Beck song, you know, as a session player. And I remember, that's Beck, not Jeff. And I remember being a little overwhelmed by just how musical, not technical, but how musical the musicians were. That they were just like, one guy would be like, you know, a guitar player maybe like, and the bass player's like, oh, and just next time he did it, the bass player went, and I was like, he remembered it and he followed it, and you know, and that's tough, because there's no technique there. But if the bass player and the guitar player only had to play it one time, and the next time the bass player was mirroring it with him, that's ear.
Yeah.
You know, I'm talking about during a song. I'm talking about a bass player or guitar player's a riff that he uses as a motif in the second chorus, and the other guy has picked up on it and follows him during a take of a song.
Yeah. So it's sort of like this,
you know,
it's spider sense, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Musical spider sense.
Yeah, it's musicality over technique. I'm not saying don't be good at your instrument, of course, practice, but the technique without the ear is a thing that, luckily, bass players don't suffer as badly from it, but guitar players are terrible for it. I work with a lot of bands over the years. I've worked with a lot of bands over the years that the guitar player has no ear. They're not hearing the changes, you know. They have parts that they work on, and that's cool. Yeah. That's really good to have parts. But they'll never be able to like turn on a dime and hang with a great rhythm section, because
they don't understand the context of the melody and where it's actually rooted to.
Yeah, I actually feel like a bass player and a keyboard player in a band setting have to be more badass musicians than a guitar player. Guitar players can lean a little heavier on style sometimes. I'm not saying always. I mean, obviously a guitar player as great as Tim Pierce is, he is a fundamental guitar player. Like, you come in with that song, he would literally have gone, with this song, he would have gone, okay, chorus, rakes. That would have put rakes down, then maybe an acoustic. And then maybe he goes, okay, it needs like a, you know. And there's a line, and then we should put an arpeggio, like a. And, you know, and he would have just, and in 10 minutes, you'd have had a chorus completely built. Because he's done it 100 times.
He understands the workflow behind it,
Yeah. So there's always a bit of that kind of acquired knowledge, which I think we all need as musicians. But I think for bass players in particular, you know, groove, you know, good feel. And it's
you ain't going nowhere without that.
It's unquantifiable as well. It's so vague, and it's much tough, because it's not. If I took your bass line now and loaded it into Pro Tools and cut every single transient so it hit exactly on the grid, it would be the worst sounding piece of music ever in the history of music. Unless we were doing, like, you know, some complicated kind of. But even then, with that kind of stuff, it still needs that needs that kind of push and pull. There's very few styles of music when it comes to guitars and basses and stuff that work well being perfectly in time. When they are perfectly in time, they tend to sound small and crap. You know, when you're talking about like bands and players, it's that push and pull between instruments that gives it the excitement.
Yeah.
So that's something you need, you know, they need to work on with other musicians. It's
I think it just comes with years of experience and just being sort of like aware that looking to absorb it. I think, you know, knowing that it's there even though you haven't got it, but looking to absorb it even, you know, if you haven't got it, if you know it's there but maybe you haven't got it right now, well then you're winning because you know about it and you want it, and then you can sort of like be aware of it. But if you're not even aware of it, well, then you're in then you're in deep water because you're never going to learn that skill set. You're never going to, you know, your ears are never going to really develop if you're not working on it like that. So, yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, man.
When I mastered the Phrase second album, I did it with Bob Ludwig. Of course, is like a legendary mastering engineer. And being a Zappa fan and all the peripheral kind of people off it, once I got in the room with him, I was like, so what was it like working with Frank Zappa? I was just like this little kid, and he just told me, I may have said this before, but he told me the story that Zappa, I think it's in the Greg video, but it's just a great story. He told me that they had these like old Neutrix EQs, and so Zappa would like make all these extensive notes of how the EQ had to be on during mastering and give them to Bob, and they would discuss it. And there was this one move where he wanted to boost a specific frequency or cut it, I can't remember, and it had to be a really narrow Q. So this is in real time as they're cutting it to tape. So Bob had to like select the frequency, narrow the Q, and boost it all in like this. And he said Zappa would lay down in a couch like this in front of the speakers. And it came up to this really complicated move. And he said, Bob said he got to the frequency, he got to the boost, but he didn't narrow the Q enough. So it boosted maybe a little bit or cut too much of the frequencies around it. Yeah. And he said that he thought, but there's no way, it only lasted a few seconds, there's no way that Zappa's going to notice. And he said he came up to the part, it went by, and just as it went by, he said laying on the couch, all he saw was this arm going up. Like this, like stop. And he's like, how did he hear that? How did he hear that? Everybody ever worked with him said that Zappa just was like this insane musical genius. Just like, and he just heard that he didn't narrow the Q enough.
It's amazing that, isn't it? So guys, I just want to say thanks for watching this, and a huge thanks for you, Warren, for coming along and just, you know, let us into what you do and your sort of like mindset and all of this magic. Again, if you want to check out what Warren's doing, he's got an amazing YouTube channel with loads of free lessons on it. He's doing 3 a week, Warren, what you're doing, crazy. 4 next week, I'm doing 4. But yeah, go over. What's it called, Warren? Your YouTube channel.
Produce like a
pro. I'm going to put a link below the video as well. So other than that, guys, see you later, and I'll see you in the shed. Say your goodbyes, Warren.
That was a lot of fun, really. I mean, it's great to have a guy of your talent play on the track. I really appreciate it. I think one of the reasons I primarily like your channel is there's a lot of channels out there. And there's a lot of people giving information, and I think that's fantastic. And I think it's great that we should all share information. Like we were talking about earlier, I learn as much from people telling me stuff. I had 2 guys yesterday give me tips on stuff that I never knew I could do in Pro Tools. So I learn stuff like that all the time. However, I also kind of like it when the person that's giving me the information is actually really a great musician.
Cheers, Warren.
And that's the thing. But it helps because I have to respect, we live in this world where you know, the access is there for everybody, and that is incredible. But it's also great that Scott really is an amazing musician. So it could bring a lot to this, because what I wanted on this song was I wanted to hear bass playing. I just didn't want to hear me going. I mean, that's part of it, but I also wanted to hear some flair, some like originality, and that's not going to happen for me unless I spend a couple of hours figuring out some fancy bass lines. So it's great to have somebody of your caliber, as my old friend would say, you know, bringing, you know, something unique to it. So thank you ever so much. I really appreciate it.
Awesome, guys. Cool. I'll see you later, Warren. See you later, guys. Bye.